afternoon, everybody. We're having a great third day of the Lowell Folk Festival today. My name is Laura Lamar Anderson, and with my family I run Lala Books. Yay! Lala Books are proud sponsors of the 2024 Lowell Folk Festival. It takes all of you to run this festival, and we appreciate all of your support. We still need that support. This festival is free to attend, but it costs about $1 million to produce. So please look for these wonderful people. Look for all these wonderful people in the gold t-shirts. They've got their buckets ready. Drop some cash in there and they're happy to share their festive beads with you. If you don't have cash today, there's lots of ways you can still donate. There's a QR code on those buckets as well as on the map that you have and on a lot of the banners throughout the festival. So please use that. You could also text to donate. If you text to the number 44321, text the code FOLK 2024, FOLK 2024, and you can donate. If you don't find a way to donate while you're here, as soon as you get home, log on to your computer, go to lowellfolkfestival.org and donate online. It takes you, it takes all of the volunteers, and thank you so much. Have a fabulous day.
All right, how is everybody? Before we start, I just want to say, so my first Lowell was 2001. It was the first, my first one, and various times I've come here for years in a row, and then maybe a little time off, years in a row, and so I remember what it was in those years, and as you know, we've gotten through this pandemic. And that was a hard time, as you know. That was a hard time in so many ways, but it was extremely hard. It was very hard to this business here. You know, it was hard on artists. It was hard on cities putting something like this on. And if you remember, I think we did it digitally one year, you know, on Zoom or something. That's not quite like this, is it? And I'm just blown away. It feels like 2001 again. You know, like this is just the way you're supporting this festival. And to see how this city, and it takes a whole city to do this, has pulled together to put on this amazing thing. Just give Lowell, give yourselves, give everybody a great community. The other thing I'm going to say is for these sessions, we're going to have a chance to really get to meet some of these artists. Can you see Joe? I don't want to get in his way. Well, I'll move out of the way when you. At any rate, for these sessions, you know, we're going to get to meet some of these artists that we've sort of pulled out of some of these groups. So we're going to have some conversation, but also hear a bunch of great music. So what I just ask is so that people can really hear this conversation. If you want to have a conversation, you know, if you would please just don't mind just stepping over to the side. There's lovely food and all kinds of good stuff, just so everybody can hear. Is that okay for you? All right. All right, well, this is called Caribbean Crossroads, from the Bayou to the Barrio, and Caribbean Crossroads cannot be a more perfect name for this. And by the way, these things are really tough to put on real fast. You know, that's like NASCAR. You know, so Sissy, our stage manager, give her a huge hand. The whole crew. Petey on monitors so everybody can hear each other. Brucey back there running amazing front of the house all weekend. Give them a hand. And so do drop something in the bucket that'll allow this to continue. What an exciting group of people we have here from Queens and Brooklyn. You know, have you seen this band, Afro Dominicano? Oh my God. And merengue. And as I said, I read that Dominican is the largest immigrant group in New York City, which really blew my mind. I did not know that. Please make them feel welcome. Adriano Brito, raise your hand here so everybody can see who you are. Franklin Hernandez and Jose Baez. We got one more guy that I didn't know.
Rafael Rodriguez and Huida.
All right, welcome to you too. The gentleman sitting next to them is an absolute living legend. I don't use Sorry, don't put that lightly. I had the pleasure of living in New Orleans in the 90s. These guys, the Neville brothers, were the soundtrack of the city. Soundtrack of the city. Favorite sons. They're in the 13th Ward, right down at Tipitinas, if those of you know Tipitinas. They were a house band at Tipitinas practically, and would always play the last set at the Jazz Fest. But besides being the first family of funk in New Orleans, I believe they were the greatest ambassadors for the city. Brought this music all over the world. What a unique group they were and are. Four brothers, each one had a really unique personality. I know you know the group. There was Charles, who just played the sax and always had that smile that lit up the room. He's passed, let's think of him today. And of course, Art, I remember George Porter told me, he called him a professor. Big brother Art on the keys, and just was the funkiest man alive, of course, with the meters. And then you still have Aaron, who looks like something out of a comic book. I mean, he's this muscle-bound guy, but he's got the voice of a dove. I mean, it's beautiful. You might know Tell It Like It Is. And then this brother right here was the fire for the group. And he still is, and what a pleasure, Mr. Cyril Neville. That's his son Omari sitting there behind him, an amazing drummer. And then we have Mr. Greg over here, Greg Molinario. Part of, represent the Sicilians down there, and don't forget them. All right. And then these folks next to here are dear new friends of mine. Have you had a chance to see the Swanky Kitchen Band? From the Cayman Islands. Well, that's a big sound. That's a big sound. I know this for a fact because I've been driving them around. There's about 12 of them, 10 of them. And big sound. They'll be at the dance stand later today. Go check it out if you haven't. But what we're doing here is pulling out sort of the roots of that. The roots of this Caymanian music. Make them feel welcome. Swanky Kitchen Band, Samuel Rose, Paula Scott. I'm gonna, let's start with our guests here from the Cayman Islands. How about that? They came the longest way. Let's make them feel welcome again. Now this is the Caribbean, so we'll start right there. That's where they are. And the Cayman Islands, for those of you who don't know, they're west of Jamaica and a little bit south of Cuba, and then east of the Yucatan Peninsula. It's 3 islands. Grand Cayman, the big one, right? And then Cayman Brac, where Miss Paul was from, and Little Cayman. Sam, tell us a little bit about what this kitchen dance music. What is this stuff that you're bringing to us?
Thank you, John, and again, it's a pleasure to be here in Lowell. Thank you for having us, Lowell Folk Festival, and welcome us so warmly. The origins of this music match the origins of the first settlers in the Cayman Islands. We were first settled in the early 1700s, and with folks from England, Ireland, Scotland, who may have gotten shipwrecked there or just came across from Jamaica. And they brought with them their fiddle tradition. And so throughout all 3 islands there were fiddlers. That makes us quite unique within the Caribbean space in that our traditional music is fiddle-centric. But of course then we would have had African slaves as well, who would have not had a choice to come, but they brought with them their rhythm and percussion, etc. So this music is a combination of the Scotch-Irish fiddling tradition with African rhythm. That's the simplest way.
And you know what, we're going to have them demonstrate this, but there's half the festival on the stage right now, and I'm like, oh my God, Joe Hall and the Cane Cutters behind me. Eunice down there in southwest Louisiana, such a rich place for Cajun music, Zydeco, Creole, and we'll learn all about that too and get to hear some of it, so make them feel welcome too. So Sam, we'll just real quick, since you described it, so this is kind of the core of that, and we got say hi, Miss Paula, say hi to the good people. Oh, so we need your mic hot, the vocal there.
Hello, happy to be here.
She came in brought from a family of percussionists, and she's playing the grater. Hold that up for people. Okay. And you'll see we got a little something that's going to be a whole lot like that. Do yours too, real quick. All right, we'll get that. We got a washboard back there. The grater, that's used for cassava, that's used for coconut, and it's also used to play music with in this kitchen music. Why don't you demonstrate just what it sounded like maybe in the beaches of Baden Town or North End or somewhere like that? Sam didn't mention this, but this group is really the guardians of this music. This music, most of the old fiddlers have passed, and this group is keeping this going. You know, Lowell, as you know, was originally the National Folk Festival. Most of you know this. It came, I think, in 1987, I think. The National Folk Festival is the longest running folk festival in the United States. It's been going on for 90 years now. This is the music from all over the world. This is the first time that Cayman Islands have ever been represented. It's a treat. I want to, you know, I think it'd be good to, just since we're in the Caribbean, let's go east for a moment. And I know these guys are in New York, but let's talk about the roots of Dominican Republic, right? You know, and that's just, of course, east of there, you know, in you know, Haiti, and then the DR, and then New York City.
Yeah.
And now the Caymans, they call that the what was it, the land that time forgot a little bit there, and it's very isolated for a long time. Whereas you all grew up in what must be the most unbelievable soundscape. You know, tell us a bit about the neighborhoods there, you know, that you're in, a little bit about what that's like. You know, you all grew up in it and everything.
Yeah, for sure, man. I grew up in Flatbush, and that, if you guys don't know, in New York, it's like where all the Caribbeans lie. So, and there's Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, obviously, but also Jamaicans, Bajans, people. All this music influences, as far as like reggae, dancehall, calypso, and you know, little did we know that it was gonna influence our Dominican side later on. So it's pretty fun out there. The music is great, and you know, it's a melting pot. So you could go from one place, a bodega in the corner listening to merengue, but then down the block you go to the jerk chicken lady and she's listening to reggae. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I grew up.
Polyrhythmic and just incredible band, and y'all want to do something. You know what I love about this is it kind of strips it down a little bit. You know, why don't you do something for us? And kind
yeah, we'll do something folkloric, merengue primera y segunda. This is the instruments that we have is tambora. This is an African drum, and we have the huira, which is also was used for cassava. Very similar to you guys. It's pretty awesome and good to know. And the accordion, which we got in 1916 from our first time we were settled by the Americans. So that's what we do.
Well, I don't know if it was. I'm not exactly sure if it was planned this way, but we're wonderfully symmetrical here and buttressed with the accordion. But this is an accordion here. Let me see that accordion of Joe. The other side too. There we go. Yeah, so he's got the one with the 2 rows of push buttons, the buttons over there. This one's got 1 row of buttons here, and a keyboard. It's got that too. Yeah. Okay. And Joe and his group, and by the way, I don't believe I mentioned the other fellows in the group. Luke Huval, make him feel welcome, please. Mark Palms, Neil Williams. So tell us a little bit about this Creole music, and I know you also, of course, play some Zydeco. Also, you're a man of both. But tell them a little bit about coming up in Eunice and some of the folks that you know. Hold on 1 second. You got to get that mic hot there, at least up here. Okay.
Check 1 2. Well, it started out with the music came from, as far as the accordion, it came from slaves. It came from slaves, and they were the first ones with the instrument. I don't know, maybe the slave owner just threw it out there and just said, you know, y'all do this, you know, for entertainment. It wasn't as many instruments as the Afrocentric Cyril. The fiddle has always been a marriage in the Creole music. It's always been a marriage. It's not nothing that you hear every day. It's just a piece of what you hear right here. It's just a piece, and it when you play it together, you have African styles, you have European styles, you have Spanish styles, different styles that only happen in Louisiana. And it only happened in Louisiana, and the styles married each other. You know, the styles married each other, and they're still married to this day. So that's about it. Since everybody, you know, playing something fast, we're gonna play a waltz from the Carriers, and so we got the hunch, got up before the bottle so. She got the hunch, Stand up,
so many things you said, I just want to kind of echo for a moment. And first of all, Africa, so, I mean, if you look up here for a moment, we have we have the shaker, right? And we have the grater. What do you call what you're playing there in Spanish?
It's called the guira.
The guida?
Guira.
So we got a grater, we got a guida, which is a sort of two-sided, that, and then we got the washboard behind me. Okay, these rhythms, these polyrhythmic, that really came from Africa. And then, as he was saying, the marriage of the European instruments. I mean, look, here we go, right? With the French Creole as well as all that, and then of course you see that here in Cayman, And then the other thing was that they played a waltz, and that made me think also, most of this came out of dancing, dance music. I mean, if you go down to Louisiana, and people are going to dance. Cajuns dance, Zydeco dance, and the Sulphur dance. Of course, this is kitchen dance music from the Caymans, And then you come out there and the merengue, right? And then if you've been down in New Orleans, people know how to shake it there, right? And largely, they shake it to this funk, this amazing music. And again, I feel like I'm a royalty when I sit on a stage with Cyril Neville, make him feel welcome again. I mean that. Cyril, say hello to the good folks here.
Hey, y'all, how y'all doing out there? I found out last night you know how to party up here.
And as I said earlier, to me at least, Cyril was like the fire on the Bayou, and he brought that heat, and you see him play the tambourine. It makes me think of the Mardi Gras Indians. I think a lot of it came out of that. And you want to mention that to folks?
Yeah, I mean the whole thing with the Neville brothers started with our Uncle Jolly, who, when I was 9 years old, called me to the side and told me that basically we are Choctaw, we indigenous to this land, and that I've been carrying that all my life, And the first Neville Brothers record actually was the Wild Chabatudas record that we recorded with my uncle.
That is it.
That record was the Neville Brothers, the Meters, and the Wild Chabatudas with a cherry on the top, Alan Toussaint. Yeah.
One of the great songwriters in American music, Alan. Look up his stuff. Half of it you won't even know is him, because sometimes he went by Naomi Neville. What was the story with that?
That was his mother's maiden name.
Okay. Oh, beautiful.
So somewhere in that mix,
yeah,
we were kin. So,
And then the Wild Chapatoo is going to start some rump. So they're talking about meet the boys on the battlefront. You want to just explain that, because a lot of people up here really don't know about it.
A lot of the songs was based on our traditions of every carnival, putting our regalia on and coming out. As far as a lot of people call it Mardi Gras. Well, the Mardi Gras is the European thing. Carnival is something that was going on in the Caribbean and other places long before there was any colonialism or any of that. So what we got to do was express a lot of that on that record, the connections between us, the Caribbean, because we notice a lot of the rhythms on that is Caribbean rhythms. And my Uncle Jolly said it back in the day. He said, well, New Orleans is the northernmost point in the Caribbean. Because for centuries before the invasions, everybody was trading with each other. Everybody was going from island to island and everything. People had cousins on different islands until today. So yeah, it was. And my opinion of it is that there ain't no one race on this planet. That's the human race. So all of this skin game stuff, I don't play that.
That Carnival, Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, right? Carnival comes from Latin, farewell to meat, because this was the day before Ash Wednesday, the day before the Lenten period. It's a day to kind of get your yayas out, before the Lent, right? Up to Easter. But that was, New Orleans was an extremely Catholic city. That is a Christian calendar, As he was saying, the Africans and enslaved people had harvest festivals and all of this stuff going on, and they would move it in order to do it and everything. They kind of moved it to that calendar, you know. So, but
actually, it wasn't like we get to choose any of that stuff like that, because at that particular time, we couldn't be ourselves. It was dangerous to tell other people who you were. A lot of the lynching and a lot of the land burning and all of this kind of stuff was going on because they understood who we were and that we owned that land. Get rid of us, and they could take the land.
And they you know, now you see Mardi Gras Indians, you know, kind of all over. But back in the day, I remember, you know, this was like an alternative carnival. You know, they're in the back streets. Nobody was announcing where the roots are. You know,
the two never met. I mean, for instance, on Carnival morning, the Indians came out with my mom and them called 4 day in the morning. You know, and like by 10, 11 o'clock, all of the Indians was either in a neighborhood ballroom somewhere or in somebody's yard. So if you saw an Indian after 11 o'clock, he was drunken on his way home. You know, and so like we didn't get to really celebrate who we were all year round anyway. You know, so on that particular day, we got to be ourselves, and it's still a tradition, and we do it on Carnival Day, on St. Joseph Night, and then there's something that was created, I think in the 70s, called Super Sunday. And there's a downtown Super Sunday and an uptown Super Sunday. So the 3 times out the year we get to actually express who we really are.
Well, I could talk about this for hours, but how about we hear a little something for the people? You want to play those?
Well, I'll tell you what, just to give you an idea of the connection between the Caribbean, we got a song we did, which is called Reggae from New Orleans. But back in the day, in the 80s, me and some friends of mine had a group called the Uptown All-Stars, and we invented what you call second line reggae. A little taste of it. From New Orleans, it's your reggae music from New Orleans. It's your reggae music from New Orleans. It's your reggae music from New Orleans. My friend called me on the telephone. He said, my wife left me and I'm all alone. It's been 3 years since she's been gone. Now I think it's time for me to roam. So man, tell me, what can I do to lively up myself and chase away my blues? Come on down to New Orleans, where you can get your filet gumbo and them blue red beans. Sweet black beans, sweeter cultural queens, and the northernmost point of the Caribbean, yeah. Yeah. Second line reggae. Yeah. Look, I gotta say this too. Ironically enough, this is a very small world. Where these brothers are from, I lived there in the 70s, in Brooklyn, in Flatbush, on Putnam Avenue. And there was a schoolyard on that, I was just telling Jose, every Sunday, there was drums from everywhere in the Caribbean, and then I showed up with my drum from New Orleans with these little crazy Indian beats and everything. Hey, man, what island you from? I said, from New Orleans, man. Hey, man, what island that? So yeah, I mean, that's, like I said earlier, this is a small world. We all the same people, y'all. We all the same.
One love.
And of course, our reggae from Jamaica, you know, which is just there. In fact, came up with part of Jamaica right at one time. Right?
Yeah, we were administered through Jamaica as a British colony when Jamaica was still a colony, and so we got our own autonomy in the late 1950s, 60s is when we started to step into our own as a community. But we were kind of, as described before, the islands that time forgot, because while Jamaica had some responsibility for us, you know, we were very much self-reliant, hence the music that developed in Cayman was uniquely Caymanian. And to Mr. Neville's point about all of us being from one set of people, many of the shipwrecks that occurred in Cayman were ships that were actually bound to Louisiana, right? So they're either coming from Louisiana or going to Louisiana, hence that side, because we're in the northwest corner of the Caribbean. And there was a lot of trade between Cayman and the Gulf states as well. So there are many Caymanians who still live in, people of Caymanian descent, who live in Louisiana, whether they're from the Cayman Islands or via the islands, the Bay Islands of Honduras, which were first settled by Caymanians, and a lot of them from Banaca, Guanaja, still live in the Louisiana area today. So the connections are just, you know, intermingled, and we have a whole lot of Dominicanos in Cayman as well right now, you know, so shout out to the Dominican Republic as well. You know?
And you know, the reggae music, of course, all over the world, you know, and it's something everybody knows, and Jamaican food, you know, the jerk chicken, all that stuff, everybody knows, but Cayman has its, as we said, it has its own music, has incredible food. Miss Paula up here is, she knows all about that, tell you what. Amazing cook, chef of this stuff. And so part of what's so special about this is these people, we're bringing Cayman out there, Cayman Islands, so people can know about it, and because it's a beautiful culture. And would you like to do another one for us? Something that you'd hear, maybe an old kitchen dance or something like that? What do you do?
Well, since you're talking about food, right? We'll do this one called Beef in the Cane Piece. It's a story of a cow that lost its life, but the neighbors decided, well, we're not going to tell the owner that the cow has died, and they decided to distribute the meat without the owner's consent. So that's a nice way of saying a cow got stolen and cut up and shared up. And Cayman style beef is one of our national dishes. So when you come to Cayman, you all coming to the Cayman Islands to visit us? All right, great. You gotta try Cayman style beef.
piece. And I just have to, for full disclosure, I'm traveling. I get to travel this week with these friends from the Cayman Islands, and with apologies, I'm the driver, you know, but as well. But we were talking and we're wondering how's this music going to get received, you know? I think you got your answer right there, you know. It's right to the heart of it all. You know, I was wondering, Joe, you know, the music, again, it's a marriage kind of that you're talking about there, and a lot of it, I mean, when you hear that, do you feel, you know, sort of connections and kinship with some of the music you play, or things that are similar, things maybe that are a little different that you can think of there?
When I listening at the fiddle player, the first thing that me and Luke were talking about, you know, the guy on the fiddle sounds like Ken Ray Funk. Yeah, Ken Ray had a Caribbean style, and with the man with the grater, when we use scrubble, and so yeah, it is a marriage, and you know, like they say at home, and melange, it is, and it just. When you put the fiddle with the accordion, well, you already got a marriage. And then you add the triangle, and you know, and nowadays they're using guitar and bass since Clifton Chenier. And yeah, it is a marriage. It is. It's I think you guys have a later marriage, I mean later to the culture, it just got to me. And my people. Y'all was before slavery, and we got it enslaved. Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Joe, maybe you could play something, and like before, you all feel like jumping in. If it feels good, you know, go ahead and do it. I mean, like you said, Cyril, we're one, man, and this music, of course, as we were saying, these are the Caribbean connections.
This is proof of it is that there's connections that, you know, the eye can't really see. And like I have a song called "The Skin Game," and there's 2 lines in it that I think fits this occasion. It's like, "Cut me and I'll bleed red, just like you, my friend." Proof that we're all just human underneath the skin.
Cyril he comes from like down the street from me, and if a drummer wanted to come from Lafayette and learn what Cyril was doing, he could. If a drummer wants to come from New Orleans and come to Lafayette and do what he's doing, he could. He could. But the most common instrument is the drum. That is the most common instrument. That is the most African. Is the drummer.
Yeah.
You know, so the next song what we're gonna do, it actually, and I'm gonna dedicate this to my friend and Cyril, because he does a lot of Mardi Gras songs. I've been listening to Cyril since I was, you know, but it actually was a Mardi Gras song. But Ken Ray took it and put words to it, and it turned into like a more of a 2-step with a story. You know, it's about a man who sees a girl and he wants to dance with her, and see what you got to understand in the Creole and Cajun culture is always the woman that's doing something wrong. But it's really so, anyway, I know I'm gonna say it's the next song.
just like they practiced it. I always love these things, man. I live for these. Isn't this amazing? And you never see this before, maybe never see it again. And here you are, Lowell, street, right in the middle of the street. Crazy, crazy. Man, and these things, you know, they're amazing. And I was amazed by the fact that they all stop at the same time. You know, they stick the landing. You ever see that? And I notice, I always ask musicians about that, you know, sometimes it's a little nod, a little wink. I don't know if you had a chance to see that foot come up. That's a big one you see in bluegrass and old time. Somebody put out the foot means it's time to close it up. So it's amazing, you know, the connections with all of that. You know, we got time maybe for one more. Cyril, you want to take us out with something fun? And...
Well, yeah, we got a little something. We were working on a Louis Armstrong record, and this was one of my uncle's favorite Louis Armstrong songs that we put the music. And well, it ain't like Louis did. And hey Joe, we do carnival music. The other folks do the body rock. Yeah.
Swanky Kitchen Band, Joe Hall, and the Cane Cutters. My name's John Lowell from the Cultural so much. This has been